Right now, you are standing in the discount aisle of a grocery store, doing math on a loaf of bread that expires tomorrow. There are exactly $38 left in your account, and 7 days remain until your next paycheck arrives. That $38 is everything left from a monthly paycheck of $2,600, which means after all your hard work, this tiny amount is what remains. So ask yourself a brutally honest question. If your salary doubled tomorrow, would your life actually change? Or would you just spend more money and still end up counting the days until the next payday? We are led to believe that a larger income will instantly solve all of our financial stress. But the brutal truth is that earning more money does not magically make you wealthier. It often just makes you broke at a completely different level. To understand why this happens, look at the daily life of someone living on a low wage. You wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and walk to work because even bus fare is a line item you have to think twice about. You spend the day on your feet, doing physical work that presses into your body, and you eat lunch alone because eating out is not something your budget allows. By the time you get home, your legs ache, your back is tight, and your shirt is soaked through. After all of that exhausting labor, your paycheck barely gets you to the next paycheck and nothing further. You and your coworkers might even joke that you are not working for money anymore. You are just working for food. But the thing that keeps pulling you backward is not really the size of your paycheck. It is what happens on the exact day it lands. Your phone starts buzzing that evening with friends calling, telling you to come out because life is short and you only live once. You go without thinking twice, spending money on bars, drinks you cannot really afford, and food that costs more than it should. Sometimes you even buy new shoes or a jacket you do not need, just so nobody assumes you are struggling. If you actually sat down and added up one of those nights, it would come out to almost $120. That is nearly 5% of your entire monthly paycheck, gone in a single evening. A week later, reality shows back up. Your wallet is empty. Your account is empty. Your fridge is empty. And you start quietly counting the days again until the next paycheck arrives. Your life has turned into a loop that never breaks. If you mapped it out, the pattern has a shape to it, almost like a chart. A massive spike right after payday, then a steep and steady drop, and finally a flat, empty line for the last several days before it happens all over again. Some people call this living paycheck to paycheck, but hearing the phrase out loud never quite prepares you for what it actually feels like to live inside it month after month with no end in sight. The reason a raise will not fix this is a psychological trap called hedonic adaptation. Human psychology is almost perfectly constructed to expand spending the moment income grows. We naturally update our sense of normal upward the instant new money arrives, so that within a few months, the new income level feels exactly like the old one felt, just with a higher floor. The breakthrough comes when you realize the true cost of your spending. Imagine watching a terrified family getting evicted on the street by a landlord who yells that the man works every day but never plans. You realize those words apply exactly to you. You work, but you never plan. Seeking an answer, you go to the public library and find a book about building wealth on a small income. The first chapter hits you with a truth that changes everything. A small paycheck is not your biggest problem. The absence of a plan is. The book introduces a concept that completely rewires how you think about spending. It shifts your mindset away from dollars and into time. Nobody ever taught you to look at money in terms of hours worked instead of dollars spent. You have to stop thinking in terms of price tags and start thinking in terms of hours. A pair of shoes that costs $80 is not just $80 anymore. It is nearly a full shift on your feet. Once you start measuring purchases in the hours of your own labor instead of numbers on a receipt, spending carelessly suddenly feels a lot more real and a lot harder to do. This is what you can call the hour rule, and it applies to every financial decision you make. If you are offered an $11,000 raise, but it requires a commute of 90 minutes each way, you have to measure it in hours out, not just income in. That $11,000 divided by 250 working days is $44 a day. And 3 hours of your time on a train comes out to less than $15 an hour. When you measure money by the time it steals from your life, you start to understand clearly what those hours produce when they belong to you and what they cost when they do not. You also begin to realize that when you buy things purely to look successful, You are sacrificing the precious hours of your life to perform for an audience that was never really paying that close attention to you in the first place. It turns out most people are far too busy worrying about their own image to spend much time studying yours. The secret to breaking out of the paycheck loop is realizing that the math of wealth building is incredibly simple. If you save just $20 a week and let it grow slowly over 30 years, it can turn into tens of thousands of dollars without you doing anything heroic at all. Just $20, week after week, left alone to build on itself. Saving $20 a week is not complicated. Cooking your own dinner is not complicated. The actual challenge is entirely emotional. What is actually hard is sitting with the discomfort of staying home while everyone else goes out. It is wearing the same shoes for one more season. It is being the person in the room who seems a little different from everyone around them. The financial part of the plan is simple, but the emotional part of sticking with it is the real challenge. And it is the part nobody warns you about. When your friends call and ask if someone finally made you boring, you have to find the strength to tell them that you just do not want your future disappearing in one weekend anymore. Later, when they tell you that you never have fun anymore, you can look at them and smile, knowing you sleep peacefully because tomorrow's bills are already handled. You must also avoid the ultimate psychological trap of treating your income as a scoreboard. Most people measure their finances by checking their account balance to see what came in this month and what is left after bills. When you do this, a stagnant salary feels like standing completely still on a floor that is not moving. But income is just the water coming in, while your net worth is how much is actually in the tank. Tracking the level in the tank over time tells the real story. You do not need a massive income. You just need to maintain the gap between what comes in and what you spend. To actually put this into practice, your paycheck needs to have a specific purpose attached to it the exact moment it lands. Start writing every expense down and divide your paycheck into 4 simple categories. Needs, savings, a small amount for fun, and an emergency fund that you promise not to touch no matter what happens. Every payday must follow the exact same pattern. Pay for your essential needs first. Buy only what you actually need. Cook at home, and save a small amount before you spend anything else. At first, the savings might look almost pointless, but you must remember to never laugh at small savings, because one day they become big opportunities. The goal of that emergency fund is to completely remove panic from your life. Eventually, when an unexpected $847 car repair call comes on an ordinary Wednesday morning, it stops feeling like a crisis. You will not have to stare at your banking app and run through mental calculations about which credit card has room. Instead, the problem stays exactly the size it actually is, without expanding to fill every available corner of your mental and emotional space. It becomes an inconvenience that you handle cleanly the same morning it arrives. There will be setbacks along the way, a sudden expense that wipes out your small emergency fund in a single week. When that happens, instead of quitting, you simply open the notebook again and start over from where you are, not from where you wish you were. That decision, more than any single dollar you save, is the one that actually changes your life. Years down the line, a plan like this is what allows someone who started with almost nothing to build towards something real. Meanwhile, the friends who always seem to have life figured out with their nice cars and expensive clothes often end up losing it all to hidden debt, forced to start over from absolutely nothing. A lot of people believe a small paycheck is the ultimate reason they cannot build wealth. But sometimes the problem is not the size of the paycheck. It is the total absence of a plan. Your income is not the first thing that needs to change. Your habits are. You have to stop trying to look wealthy and start actually becoming financially secure. Wealth is never built in a single payday. It gets built one decision at a time, one saved dollar at a time, and one habit at a time. You do not need to earn millions to start changing your future. You only need to become faithful with what you already have. Because a paycheck can feed you for a month, but wisdom can provide for a lifetime. So let me leave you with one last question. When your next paycheck lands, will it disappear? Or will it become the beginning of a different future?